We think intellectualism and intelligence goes hand in hand, and I see no difference between the two, as referred to as madness. Can you tell me if there is any difference between
intellectualism and madness? Madness is not being conscious.
Yeah.
And not being conscious is not knowing. And not knowing that you do not know. Can I go over it again?
Yeah.
Madness is not being conscious. Not being conscious means that you do not know. But you do not know that you do not know. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Now you're making a bigger confusion, because knowing and not knowing, and not knowing.
You don't know, but you don't know that you do not know. That is madness.
Then intellectualism.
And when it comes to madness, for as long as we have a specific context of what we take to be true, whether it is conditioning through our education system, whether it is conditioning through our culture, we are mad because we stick to a specific thing and we call that the truth. So what we do not know, we do not know. So humanity in general is mad. It has a degree of madness. What matters is degree, how it varies in degree. But this madness, how do I put it? But this madness of humanity always looks at anything that is not, or anyone that is not mad, as mad. And what it means by this is that when you're not part of the standard and you're looking out of the box, you're mad because you're not conventional. You're not following the same stream everybody is following. That is what society calls mad. Now let me define what intellectualism is. But which everybody is, for as long as you're being told what to do, how to wake up, how to eat, everything that is being told to you, and you're fixed in a particular way, and that is what you know, you actually do not know. Because you're told what you should know, and then what you should know is what you take to be as the truth. So you do not know that you don't know. So you're mad. But intellectualism is this way, and this is what everybody is. What intellectualism is a certain skill or ability to be able to get out of the common trend and look on the outside and see that and observe yourself, but from an outer perspective. So you observe and go like, okay, this is happening. It's like you watch a movie of what exactly is the reality without attaching yourself to it. So you get out of that, go into your mind and look at every aspect of life as if you're just observing it. So in that aspect, we define intellectualism as consciousness. Being conscious, being aware of what a trend or commonality is not able to perceive because it does not know that it does not know. For you, you're saying, let me first observe this, and when I observe, what do I see? So that is what intellectualism is, and that is what consciousness is. So we have seen when we define consciousness that consciousness is what actually a human being is. And there is a director of resuscitation at the NYU, university, and this is in the US, Dr. Sam Piam, I think. He found out that when someone dies, he's in that resuscitation department, there is something they call consciousness that was able, even after they had detected on the computers that someone has died and he's gone off, really is not going to come back. There is a time they would resuscitate this person, and the person comes back and talks, and this consciousness talks about, I saw you doing this, I was out of my body. And they discovered that this consciousness actually lives beyond the body. Scientifically proven. This is not woo-woo science. It is scientifically proven. So that means that the consciousness comes when you have the ability and intelligence to be an observer of events or life or your own community and try to see what exactly is missing. Madness means you're going to go around in circles around the same thing, and you're never going to be able to figure out what exactly is this that is missing, because you're not skill of going out of your mind, being conscious and looking at things in terms of what they are. So you're more looking at society as an observatory kind of thing. But what you observe now become the consciousness that you use in living your own kind of life. And consciousness is what brings meaning into life. Because when you're conscious, you discover things that are out of the box. And when you discover these things that are out of the box, you change the values and make your own values of who you are, what you are, and what you want to get out of life. And for as long as you have all these values, then you get a goal of how to focus your life. And when you focus your life on these kinds of goals, then it doesn't matter how long you live. Your life has been meaningful. Even if you live 1 day, you live 2 days, it doesn't matter. Because you're directing your life towards a certain consciousness and a certain goal that is making your life a little bit more meaningful and purposeful, rather than just waking up every morning, doing the same thing over and over again. And that is the madness in society. Although madness is termed as not really understood as not being part of the norm, that is what is called madness. Because you're going one way and everybody else is going this way. But the actual and most natural thing about any human being and the consciousness which is inside us, which doesn't die, is that we must be able to observe life like that. That is our nature. Indoctrination works to some extent, but consciousness has completely died off. So this is the era of waking up to things we are not able to see. So we should ask ourselves, if we have these repeated things, why aren't they solved? Why is it that we cannot be able to see this and that? And this is where you can even look at life and your life purpose as simply creating consciousness through what you do, giving an alternative to what is usually seen as a norm. And this is where now we look at even reading books as a way of creating consciousness. You make up your own mind, have a different kind of perspective. And this is the kind of legacy that my father left me, a library of books. And this is what I share with the community, different kinds of information. And we launched that recently within the community as we assessed our village economic movement, how far it has gone and what it has been able to achieve. So I think, in my view, that is the difference between madness and consciousness. I think the mere fact that someone can even say you're mad because you're intellectual is a sign that that person is actually mad. Because you would observe something about that person that is different, that you would come up with a conclusion more than a statement or a judgment of what this is. Even this that I'm talking about is simply an observation of what happens between a person who's conscious and one who's not. In this cause of creating human consciousness, we want to thank all our viewers for participating with us, giving us encouragement. Your suggestions on social media have really been valuable. We really, really thank you for supporting us and for sharing with others. Your thoughts mean a million to us. And thank you so much for being part of this village economic movement, creating human consciousness, restoring human dignity from mesquinity to an authentic human being who is worth being a human being and not just a level below that. Thank you so much for your support. Keep sharing, keep giving us your views, and help us make this world a better place. Thank you so much.
We have talked about legacies. In the news, we saw something like KKVM. What is it exactly? What's its direction? And what's its purpose to communities? Because I'm seeing it spreading outside where it started from, which is Sese Island.
The KKVM is Kirunda Kivejinja Village Economic Movement. I recognize my father largely as an intellectual who was conscious about the observatory way of perceiving life, looking at life and trying to see in these communities what is missing. The question of poverty in rural areas actually really was something that he wanted to work on. So I worked with him in trying to set up a project that could set an example that people have done themselves through the economic system, which I explained between the economic and financial system, that would help these people to redeem themselves from poverty. Because when people are in poverty, they are thinking they are less than human. So they need some kind of savior or rescue. What if you could rescue yourself? So this KK Village economic movement was a model to show to the rest of the rural villages that take charge of your own lives. You determine that you're human being enough. Then we had stages we had to go through in starting this village economic movement. The first one was a census. What exactly happens in the rural areas is that different people do small things that are not coordinated. So you find and say, what is an economic trigger? Given the census of the activities in this place. There are some areas, when we did a census, they don't even grow vegetables. And they have the highest nutritional deficiency related diseases. So you can easily say one of the most viable things you can do here is grow green vegetables, for example. But now in the Sese community where we started, we were like, okay, if I was me as a person, even from what I got from my father through his intellectual mentoring, if I as a person had to take one person to learn from about life and success, it would be fungus. Do you know why I would say fungus? It's the one thing I would learn from about life. Fungus, bacteria, and algae were the first one that caused the revolution of human life and formed the first eco and economic system. Fungus and bacteria, they know what it means to cooperate, coordinate, and interlink life of microbial organisms right from the soil to creating plants and trees, and which plants create oxygen. And then you give up as a human being carbon dioxide. So if you were to learn about anything and the usefulness of an economic system and how to set it up, you're going to look at the functions of fungus, bacteria, microbial organisms. And this is where we said, what can we look at as an economic trigger in this field? And that is where we came up with black soldier fly farming. If every community did it, what would that mean? It would mean, most of the days we build our houses using bricks. So we take off the top layer out of all this modernization and construction. So there isn't any more top layer for bacteria and microbial organisms to play with. And the result of that, there isn't much top layer either, for activity of the soil and productivity. So how do we revive this soil? How do we pamper the soil? In Malay, they call it sayang, the soil. How do we send love to the soil so that we get that same love back? So what you actually do is form a top layer, which you get from this black soldier fly larvae. Not only that, but you can get food, you can get a lot of byproducts out of it, you can get pesticides, you can get even nutritional benefits to the body that are still under research. And when you realize that, you say, these communities, do they have waste? Waste is a problem of the modern world today. So you say, can we manage this waste in this way? Then you work with communities and you say, these communities, how can they, as social corporate communal responsibility, work with us in helping these things to benefit community, to create an economic system. So right now, you have someone who doesn't have land, being able to grow black soldier fly larvae at the back of their houses. And from zero income to getting at least almost $45 a month. That is quite something. But all our job was, as the KK Village Economic Movement, Kirunda Village Economic Movement, it was to demonstrate that this can work. Have a sample where it can work and then replicate it to other countries. Right now, we have incorporated Masaka, another region. There are group leaders who are now working with us, and they are learning and training. So far, they have organized about 600 farmers within Masaka under the RDC office. Then we also have people under Cow. Cow is a chief administration officer of Bugweri, who is Mr. Chirinda. And he has also organized his area. Different places, Ruwero has also picked up under private person who's initiating business. So we want to put these as examples in different places to copy. Now we've gotten to the area of increasing capacity, production, and going into the producing of different kinds of activities that even create topsoil, and you can buy topsoil and go and pour in your soil with some microbial activity to cause activity of a regeneration of the soil, of the topsoil. We also have things we can make out of there like pesticides. We are going into that line of production. And we usually sign up different people to work with us and become village leaders in other places. And we hope that way we have an economic system that restores human dignity, but also connects a human being to other aspects that are vital for human life and sustenance, like fungus, bacteria, microbial organisms and their importance, and humanity's connection to the environment. And this is how far, and this is the next step that we are going into so far.
Bikanta bwe tukungula mu bintu biri atubeeredde mulungi ku kitooke buli kitooke kye tutaddeko kirabika bulungi nnyo 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 ne bwe kiba kibadde kigenda kufa kivaayo ne kiri nkungula n'enfuna ssente mbiwuka ate n'ensigaza ekigimusa ekyo kyenzijjako ku biwuka nekigenda ku mmwanyi zino era nga bwe muziraba naye ku bitooke nteekako ekigimusa ekyo kikola ku buli kintu kikola bulungi n'enkoko ziwaako ne ziryako era nazo tezirumbibwa birwadde okubeera natandika okulundira wano enfenka obumwanyi buno bwali bubi nnyo olaba ziriko guriini nungi zifaanana bulungi.
Encourage every village to try this out. Yes, there are some challenges, but if government tukwatagana bulungi with the villagers, it will make a big difference. And I'm hopeful.
So this type of madness, or intelligence as you call it, is pushing you to discover or to realign everybody who does not have land, the landless, the poor that the president talks about, are the ones you are identifying to give something to do from exactly where they live or in their habitation or environment.
This kind of madness also focuses on the reality that you cannot do anything to change a human condition without the human mind and the human being central to that kind of change. Mm-hmm. So human being is the first resource and their kind of mind and the mentality that they have. And then what you have and where you're able to sleep, you can do this business right on your veranda. I'll give you an example. We have got oil palm outgrowers on the island. After 4 years, they earn about 298,000 from 1 acre of land after 4 years. Now someone grows black soldier fly larvae on the veranda of their house. They are not landowners, but on the veranda of their house. And they use 2 meters by 1 in terms of width. And they need an investment of about 15,000 Uganda shillings. And between 15,000 and 25,000, depending on the quality of the polythene that they use to make as a farm. And within a month, someone is coming from 0 income to 120,000 on their veranda. Some go even up to 160,000 on their veranda. Within 3 weeks, actually, not even 3 months, 3 weeks. So you tell me, if I wait, which is good that someone is able to earn that, even if it's after 4 years, they earn 298 on 1 acre. But this is less than an acre. And the input is less.
And it is expandable.
And it is expandable. When you get that 160, you can want to get 380. You use another portion of the veranda. You can even build now going up, as you can see when we were visiting the communities during the launch, which we held as an annual general meeting. We were seeing the different ways that these villagers were doing it in their households. And each one of them was innovating according to how much land they have. There are those that are doing it in very small places, others are doing it in just cubicles, that are really tiny. So you compare 4 years of getting 298 in 1 acre. And then you compare 3 weeks of getting between 120 and 160,000.
So it doesn't matter, even if you don't do black soldier fly farming and your neighbor does black soldier fly farming, the value chain, you'll get the topsoil given to you.
From the rearing of black soldier fly farming.
Then the larvae can be used to feed chicken.
To feed the chicken. It can also be used to make pellets to feed fish.
And pigs.
And even all kinds of livestock.
Well, I'm sure that is a beneficial kind of madness, isn't it?